All right, let's begin with the war in Ukraine. This morning, the White House announced more sanctions against Russia and more economic support for Ukraine. President Biden is holding a virtual meeting with G7 leaders that's set to kick off right about now. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy will also attend. Today marks 1 year since Moscow's invasion of his country began. CBS News senior foreign correspondent Charlie D'Agata is in Kyiv, and he joins us now. So, Charlie, what are you seeing on the ground as far as how Ukrainians are marking this day?
Yeah, Vlad, I can say it in one word: solemn. President Zelenskyy went out on the streets today. He went to a square and he held a very brief memorial service, which in itself is an act of defiance, considering the country is at war and he's clearly a target. He talked about resilience, invincibility, one of the words that he used. There's nothing to celebrate here except the fact that they haven't been defeated. He talked about how much he admired the strength and resilience of the Ukrainian people, Ukrainian forces as this fight goes on. He honored the fallen as the battle continues to grind on. But there's nothing to celebrate here. We've been using the word anniversary, and it's almost offensive when we speak to Ukrainian commanders and just regular Ukrainian people on the ground, because that suggests that there's something to celebrate. It's a tough day today. They've survived a year, but the fight continues, and it's come at a tremendous loss.
And let's talk about where the fight is right now. How are Ukrainian forces holding up on the front lines?
Holding is the key word. They're holding the front line. In places like Bakhmut, they're really getting hammered. And it's going to get to a point where they have to make a decision as to what they can defend. Because largely what they're running out of, and I've said it many times, but I say it because they say it to me, it's ammunition. It's artillery. It really gets down to that sort of nitty-gritty. Yes, they're talking about the tanks that might get here in March and April, but the Russians are pushing, and they're pushing in so many different directions. They're pushing outside of Kupiansk and Kharkiv, which is up to the north. You've seen these horrible pictures outside of Kherson, which are Ukrainian-held areas, and the Russians are pushing in that direction too. We talk about the hundreds of thousands of Russian troops that are flooding into the battlefield. It is significant because they are coming up against Ukrainian forces who don't have anywhere near that sort of number. So they're digging in. They're in trenches. It's become so close that they're throwing grenades at one another on one of the front lines that we've seen. This fight continues and it rages on. So outside of areas like Kyiv and to the west and Lviv, there's a semblance of normalcy. But today, it's a sad day. They're marking a nation at war. They're remembering how many people have been killed, and there doesn't seem to be an end in sight.
Yeah, that last line is key right there, Charlie. There doesn't seem to be an end in sight. Charlie, thank you very much.